Hello again, horse racing fans. Welcome to another episode of the Inside Post. Today, we will be handicapping Saturday, June 3rd at Churchill Downs for their four Grade 3 stakes races on their card, with two just regular stakes races as well. So, we will be handicapping races 5 through 10. We have the Regret, a Grade 3, the Aristides, the Audubon, the Shawnee, a Grade 3, the Arlington, a Grade 3, and the Blame, Grade 3. There are 10 races or 11 races on the Saturday card. Um, I believe Churchill has the better stakes races and the better racing on Saturday than some of the other tracks that we usually handicap and do videos on. So we will be bringing you our top picks, one contender, and a long shot play for you to bet on. Like our other videos, we are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, so hit that subscribe button down below to get us to 1,000 subscribers before the Belmont Stakes, as we are just now a week away before the third leg of the Triple Crown, what's shaping up to be a really great race. So we'll start the Churchill Downs Saturday card with the Grade 3 Regret going 1.125 miles on the turf for fillies that are 3-year-olds. Our top pick in here will be Papilio for Javier Castellano and Mark Cassie. This horse comes out of the Edgewood just as I believe Mission of Joy and one other horse coming out of the Edgewood as well. Finished fourth in there, did finish behind Mission of Joy. I believe it was like beaten by a head. The horse seemed to kind of not necessarily make a run for the lead, but kind of got to second in the stretch and then kind of weakened, I guess, or gave way to I think it was like Revolt and Mission of Joy in that lead. However, it did post a pretty good speed figure as a 90. The extra distance, I guess, that this horse will be getting, a mile, another eighth, will be the big question mark if it's ready to go. That extra 1/8 did weaken going a mile and 16th, so we will see. Um, I just think the horse is coming out of three grade stakes races, gets back to a grade 3 stakes race, does have the Mission of Joy competition to run against in here, and that's where our second pick will lie. Again, comes out of the Florida Oaks, goes straight to the Edgewood, finishes third. Was basically one that I guess you could say have some trouble if you go and look at the notes on that race. Clipped heels, was altered out, and finished third, just ahead of Papilio. So interesting enough to see. I feel like this could be a 2-horse race. Mission of Joy probably has a little bit better form right now. Definitely a lighter raced horse. Both of Tyler Gaffalione, Javier Castellano. You have Graham Motion and Mark Cassie. I think definitely using these two horses on your pick 4, pick 5 tickets is probably the best way to go. One long shot that we're going to use for an exacta trifecta style would be Miss Riddler. Undefeated in 2 starts, does come out of breaking her maiden last July at Ellis Park, then has a big layoff, comes in April at Keeneland, and an allowance of non-winners of 1 and wins that as well. Does get Luis Saez aboard again. Interesting. I think the horse has definitely made some improvements. Interesting to see what this horse's odds were. Last time out, it was 10-1, so probably going to be a little bit shorter. Could be 5-1 as the third betting choice in here. Like always, again, you don't see any odds on these horses. We are handicapping these rather early. I think it gives us a better angle not knowing the odds. So that's why we are kind of undetermined on some of the odds. Next, we have race 6 going 6 furlongs. This is the Aristides Stakes for 4-year-olds. We have top pick Gnight in here. Another good race of possibly two horses, maybe one sneaky between Gnight and Sibelius in here, as they both are coming back from Dubai in that Dubai Golden Shaheen, where Sibelius was able to beat out Gnight in that race. However, I think Gnight will have the better advantage in here. Um, it's kind of hard to get speed figures or times or anything like that when these horses run over in Dubai or Europe, or I believe Saudi even sometimes has weird numbers on their time forms or even speed figures for that fact. So I think Goodnight is the better horse. Or comes in here looking to be the better horse. Put a pretty good workout in. May 22nd, was first out of 19, going 5 furlongs at 59. Our other pick, like I said, being Sibelius, draws the rail in here with Junior Alvarado. So gets him back aboard. Had Ryan Moore aboard in that Dubai Golden Shaheen, but Junior's has had success on him as well. Ran in the Pelican, the Mr. Prospector, and won both of those. 4 times back, or if you look back in the fall at Churchill Downs, Bengo, the other horse that is on the outside of Goodnight, did beat out Sibelius in that $300,000 stakes race at Churchill Downs. So that horse, Sibelius, looks to be improving as well. Speed figures have been improving since the fall. Going into winter, posted a 102 speed figure back in February before going to Dubai in that Pelican. So again, probably going to be a heavy 2-horse race between these two, and it's kind of like setting up to be a rematch between these two. Sibelius obviously won the Dubai tour, and now they come back to the States, and we see what can happen between these two again. Third pick, just to kind of include in some exacta trifecta wagering, will be Tejana Twist. Horse comes out of the Churchill Downs Grade 1 on Derby Day, getting beat out by Cody's Wish, but ran a pretty good third in there. Definitely was a late runner. That kind of got third just by being a big closer in that race. Has ran against Goodnight before in the King Cotton back in January at Oaklawn Park. Finished second in there, beaten by 4 lengths. Did the same thing, kind of came a little bit from the back. So interesting. I still think this is a 2-horse race, but Tejano Twist is in good form and good shape right now. Just if you look back at the last three races, the speed figures seem to be in decline. So that's kind of the only reason that we're not going to use this horse as our top 2, or probably leave this horse off of our multi-race wagers. Race 7, back to the turf. We're going a mile and an eighth. We have the Audubon, just a $225,000 stakes race for 3-year-olds. Top pick, Web Slinger. Yes, another horse coming out of the undercard for the Kentucky Derby. That American turf, that grade 2 turf race, as a lot of these horses do. The horse was 22-1 last time out, and definitely had some closing speed. Had a pretty good pace to close into, and this was kind of a major upset in that race, beating out Farbridge and Major Dude. Farbridge, I believe, is entered at Santa Anita on Saturday in a stakes race out there. So interesting to see Web Slinger here as probably what's going to be the possibly post time favorite. Definitely will probably be the morning line favorite, just coming out of that last race. And it makes no sense. We did not even consider this horse when we were looking at that Churchill Down undercard. If you look back, comes out of the Colonel Liam $200,000 stakes race at Gulfstream, finishes second. The Transylvania Grade 3 stakes race finishes third. So the horse has been hitting the board like crazy, except for one start, and that was the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. And then boom, blows him away in the American Turf, big closing speed, and beats out Farbridge by a nose. I mean, crazy if as an angle, you think people would have picked up on this, and I'm sure some people did and picked up the price of that 22-1. Definitely gonna have to take another step forward in here. He's definitely gonna need that pace to run into as that closing style. So we will see if Webslinger can make it 2 for 2. Next pick or second pick, we're going with Shirar. I believe it's how you say it. Luis Saez, Todd Pletcher. This is a horse out of Gunrunner and has been running over in Dubai. Ships in here. Interesting. Usually these Europe shippers, when they come in to turf races, they run pretty big. Winner of its last 2 races over at Dubai. I don't know. I wish it kind of gave us when the horse kind of ships in. I would assume, looking at workouts, it's been here since possibly April, maybe even March. So it's got some works in on the turf at Belmont. So interesting that it's coming to Churchill Downs. I just feel like maybe that turf is being a little speedy right now since it's kind of that new refurbished turf for the Churchill Downs track. Interesting to see these horses seem to run faster when they come over here from Europe on the American turf. So interesting. We're going to use it as our second pick, as that's kind of an angle that we have consistently been playing. Third pick, we're going to use Mendelssohn's March. This one comes out of that American turf as well. Finished ninth. Just really had nothing. Kind of came out of the gate eighth or 8 back, and just really had no rally or nothing else. Finished ninth actually. So I think definitely going to get a better trip in here. Sticks with Brian Hernandez. A lighter raced horse, only 4, making its 5th start. So interesting enough, I think this is a good place for this horse to come back to. I just don't know if the turf is what this horse prefers. It's tough. I know it's been on the fairgrounds turf and the Churchill Downs turf. Other than that, it ran in the Grade 1 Bluegrass, and then it was at Oakland Park on a sloppy track there as well, and that seems to be its best race. So dirt maybe is where we see this horse ending up. They may let's try one more on the dirt or on the turf for Mendelssohn's March and see what he can produce coming out of that American turf. Long shot yet again, Scooby Quando. Again, if you've watched some of our other videos, we talked this horse up in the John Battaglia. We talked this horse up in the Bluegrass, and he finished ninth. And we even had this horse as a probable to draw in on the American turf and just flattened out. I don't know. This horse is probably a horse that may need to cut back. I just don't know the distance of a mile, especially a mile and an eighth, is what this horse wants. It seems to be ran its best from a mile or 6 furlongs. So I think that's what this horse needs. Using it as a long shot in here just because there's not many other horses. Definitely we've been a big fan of the turfway shippers, and this one's kind of been a fluke turfway shipper for us. But I think in a good spot here. Another one that's coming out of that American turf, another one that's coming out of the Bluegrass. So interesting to see what Scooby Quando's odds will be, and again to use in our exactas trifectas. Race 8. We got a mile and a 16th, the Shawnee Grade 3 Stakes race. 4 fillies and mares that are 4-year-old and up, I believe. Yes. Looking in here, we are using Frost Point as our top pick. This has Junior Alvarado, Wilmot, again, a 5-year-old mare out of Frosted with Tappet on the top of that, bred and owned by Godolphin Stables. 11, 5, 3, and 2 lifetime with a career best 98 speed figure that it ran, or that it got in its last race at Keeneland. I believe it was the Double Dog Dare, I believe is what that grade 3 stakes race was at Keeneland, going a mile and a 16th. Had Flavion Pratt aboard at that time, and has won its last 3 races, improving its speed figures in each of those last 3 starts. Um, Really, the horse has hit the board since I believe it's allowance day back in 2021. Has either been first, second, or third. And then here, obviously, of recent, definitely finishing first in its last 3 starts. Posted a pretty good workout back May 28th at Churchill, going 4 furlongs and 47 and 2, I believe. Um, Interesting. Wilmot's at a 12% right now, 25% trainer when he's winning his last race, pointing that horse forward again. So does have that grade 3 double dog dare that it's coming from speed figures, improving again. I think this one would be a pretty good price. May not be the uh, post time or morning line favorite, but this one should be at a pretty good price. And with those connections, could be a pretty good betting horse. Second, we're going to use Idiomatic. This one, Brad Cox trained, Florent Giroux, owned by Judemont and bred by Judemont. This is a 4-year-old out of Curlin. 7-4, 1 and 2 lifetime, career best 94 speed figure. Picked that up last time out in the Ruffian, a grade 2 stakes race at Belmont back May 6th, going a mile in that race. Definitely early speed should help in here. Florent Giroux is a hot jockey in the last 7 days, 8, 2, and 2. And again, another one that posted a pretty good workout back in May 27th. Last race did have Trevor McCarthy aboard, and the time before that had Chris Landerer. So does get Florent Giroux, I believe, the first time for this horse. And another one that has either hit the board in each of its 7 starts. So interesting one pointing in here as well. Speed figures seem to be improving or maintaining in that 94, 93 mark. So one, again, that's probably going to take another big step forward. Coming in here, trying to pick up another graded stakes race. Number 3, we'll be using Pauline's Pearl. Probably the class of the field coming out of 2 grade 1, so Latroin and the Beholder. Coming from Santa Anita, went into Latroin. I believe that was on Friday of Kentucky Oaks Day. Finished 6th in that race. Just was kind of a big price at 17-1 and just really had nothing. Kind of has some late speed or that closing speed, and just never was able to use it in either one of those last 2 races. Probably will be a shorter priced horse just because of the class of those grade 1s that it's came out of, which the horses that it ran against, I mean, yes, it came against Secret Oath and Search Results in that Latroin. I just don't know if it's going to be able to run with the likes of the Idiomatics, just based off of the speed figures. The horse it hasn't posted a pretty good speed figure since January when it won its last race, and I think it was the Houston Lady Classic or something along those lines, of grade 3 at Houston Park. So interesting to see what Pauline's Pearl does here. May try to sit a little bit closer to the lead like it's done in those other races, to help it kind of manage so it does not get buried so deep in this field. Long shot, this one will probably be I don't know. It's tough to say if this one will be a long shot. It was 22-1 last time out, but that was in the Derby City Distaff, which it should have been, coming out of there of Matarea, Wicked Halo, and Goodnight Olive. Just the speed figures are not even close. 70s is what it's been running in the past two races. Um, I have to go all the way back to 2021 when the horse ran in a big graded stakes race and was able to win a graded stakes race. Florida or Fairground Oaks did run in the Kentucky Derby or Kentucky Oaks and finished fifth, but has been running in optional claimers. Did run in a Belmont at Aqueduct. Beldame grade 2 stakes race and finished fourth again. Was racing against the likes of Nest, Goodnight Olive, um, and Matarea. So definitely one that may be on the decline, but does have some class, is not running against the likes of Nest, Goodnight Olive, and Matarea. So interesting to see what this one is able to do. Again, posted a pretty good speed figure, two pretty good workouts coming out of the Derby City Distaff. So maybe one that's got one more good race left in her, and maybe we will see it in this race. But definitely, I feel like this race is probably somewhat wide open. Um, Interesting with Travel Column. I just think it's going to have to take a pretty big step forward, but seems to be putting in some pretty good workouts, so could be a big surprise. Next, race 9, a mile and a 16th. We have the Arlington Grade 3 stakes race on the turf for 4-year-olds and up. Whoops. Top pick will be Royal Patronage. Comes out of an allowance. At Keeneland, going a mile and a 16th. Posted a pretty good 101 speed figure, so that's been the highest speed figure at the distance or of the field. Interesting kind of class drop to pick up that allowance win if you look, I mean, based off of the past performances. Comes out of the Saratoga Derby. I believe it was the Virginia Derby at Colonial, and then goes to Keeneland and picks up an allowance of non-winners of 3 win. And then points right in here to this graded stakes race on the turf. Finished 7th and 6th in those two graded stakes races before coming into the allowance. Was even entered in the Belmont Derby. Finished 5th in there. Was beat out by Classic Causeway, who's in here as well. I just think maybe the horse is moving in the right direction. Definitely is taking a step up in class. But I think that 101 speed figure kind of sticks out coming out of that. I know it was a small allowance race, but interesting that maybe is a race that this horse needed. The connections trainer needed to see, and then they point it right in here to this grade 3 Arlington. I think it could be like a momentum boost for the connections or for the horse that it's kind of got a win under its belt. I know this horse maybe likes to come from that mid pack feel to have that late rally or late kick. Probably going to be a little bit higher price, maybe in that 5-6 to 1 area. Even though it was the favorite last time out, I just think there's some other horses in here that will take some money. Set piece being our second pick will probably take some money. Florent Giroux, Brad Cox, again, Jumont owned and Jumont bred. Again, has the opportunity to improve off the second start from a layoff. Last race in November, comes in May in the not a graded stakes, $300,000 stakes race at Churchill Downs. So has that Churchill Downs turf under its belt, has ran here 7 times, 4 wins on the turf at Churchill. Gets Florent Giroux again back aboard. Looking outside of that $300,000 stakes race last time out, I mean, it's ran in the Seabiscuit, the Turf Mile, the Arlington Million, the Forbidden Apple. I mean, the horse has had so many stakes races, and I believe there's 2 wins on, I guess, in 2022 that the horse was able to pull off. So I believe we'll get a little bit of class relief coming in. Speed figure in that last outing. 86. The horse came from way out of it. I think it was last at the second call, last in the stretch, and was able to finish third. So hopefully in here, I believe there's only 7 horses. Florent Giroux does not bury this horse right from the gate. Should set up a little bit better being a smaller field and should easily have some type of pace to run into in here. Third, Tiberius Mercurius, I believe is how you say it, for Mike Maker and Luis Saez. Another one, ran in an optional claimer, 9 winners of 3. Last time out, M is able to win by a nose. This horse will probably dictate the speed or be on the lead in this race, and I think that's where the other 2 closers will have something to run at. Using this as our third pick, hopefully the fractions don't go in the favor of Tiberius here, and he's able to wire the field, and nobody really has any late kick. And I think that's kind of up in the air of what they're going to do. Are they going to sit just off the lead? I just don't know if there's any other horse. Harlan Estate, I think, could go to the lead, and so could Classic Causeway. It's just interesting to see what the fourth post with Luis Saez, the horse should have no problem getting out to the lead and dictating those early fractions. Long shot, we're going to use Kentucky Ghost for Tyler Gaffalione and Victoria Oliver. We're just throwing this one in here as a possible big price. Trainer, jockey have been running really well at Churchill. Tyler's at a 16%. Victoria's at a 22%. Was really the only long shot possibility in here that we thought could have some good value, and that could be a second or third place runner. Classic Causeway we'll probably use on our tickets, just to, again, a horse that could go out early, and that could be there at the end. I think it comes back to turf again after running on some turf before, but has kind of struggled running on turf. 5-1, does have 2 third place finishes. So again, not sure if this horse prefers the turf, will like the turf. Never ran on the Churchill Downs turf before, so we will see what Classic Causeway is able to do. And the last graded stakes race is the Blame, going a mile and an eighth on the dirt for 4-year-olds and up. Here we have Rattle and Roll coming out of that Pimlico special on May 19th, entered in here. Probably will be 8-5, 2-1 favorite when odds are set for this horse. 101 speed figure in that Pimlico special did it coming from off the pace with that big closing speed. Was sixth at the second call, second going into the stretch, and finished first by a nose, beating out speed bias in that. Again, I think this race sets up perfectly for Rattle and Roll to be the favorite and possibly easily win this race. If you are looking to beat Rattle and Roll, a good one to possibly use would be Pioneer of Medina. Finished third in the Ben Ali April 22nd at Keeneland, going a mile and 3/16. A 97 speed figure with Tyler Gaffalione. Here gets Luis Saez aboard, and if you look through the past performances, Luis Saez was on this horse in the Harlan Holiday, in the Mine Shaft, and I believe it was the New Orleans Classic. Again, I think Pioneer and Medina should run a big race. It's probably close to a 2-horse race with between this horse and Rattle and Roll. However, Rattle and Roll definitely has the speed figure advantage over this horse. Rattle and Roll beat out Pioneer of Medina in its last start in that Ben Ali, and so did Call Me Fast. So interesting. I just think getting Luis Saez aboard, switching it up a little bit, could point this horse back in the right direction. The big thing is it going to go to the lead? Does it want to press? Does it want to sit mid-pack? From post 7, I think it can do either or. And I think it needs to be crazy and go to the lead for Pioneer Medina and see. Pioneer, Pioneer Medina has ran against Rattle and Roll before and Call Me Fast as well, and that Ben Ali. So I think Pioneer Medina going to the lead could shake things up a little bit, and may be able to hold off Rattle and Roll in the stretch. Third, we're going to use Barber Road. I know, not really coming out of any of the big graded stakes races, trying to pick up that allowance win of non-winners of one, and did so at Keeneland back in April. So does have a little bit of a layoff coming into this race. Um, it's definitely up against it for sure. Does have a pretty good workout May 21st. And again, another one that's early speed is kind of all over the place and looks like it could come from behind, as it's tried to do before. But I think the early speed is what this horse needs to do and get out early. Um, could I don't think it's going to dictate the pace, but could press the pace if it gets out quick enough. Definitely up against it for sure. As our third pick, I know probably could be our long shot pick instead. Um, we probably will throw in Call Me Fast for exacta trifectas as well. Did finish second in that Ben Ali Grade 3 stakes race. Against Rattle and Roll and Pioneer of Medina at some big odds of 16 or 17 to 1. So interesting to see how this one is placed in here. Looks to be mid pack again, or could go to the lead as well. Does look like it gets Julian Leparoux again aboard, and he looks to maybe sit back a little bit on this horse and get it set up for that mid pack run. I still think it's Rattle and Roll's race to lose. But who's going to dictate that early pace could determine if Rattle and Roll will have any of that pace to run into. So there is the Churchill Downs graded stakes race. The races, I think we did 5 through 10 with 3 grade 3s, and then those 2 extra stakes races built into the card for Saturday, June 3rd. As we are just weeks out or a week out from the Belmont Stakes. Make sure to hit that like button. Again, hit the subscribe if you're still watching. Let us know your best bet for this card, and give us some of your early thoughts on the Belmont Stakes as well. We thank you for watching, and we hope you win big.